Hi everyone. So this is season 6, episodes 7 and 8 of The Circle. Um, episode 7 is called Ride or Die, and it goes right where it we left off, with Kitty and Kyle deciding to block Cassie. Before Cassie leaves, she can meet one person face to face, and that person is Olivia Brandon. Cassie thinks Kitty is shady along with Miles. Um, and expresses that to Olivia. Next morning, Olivia Brandon thinks they should say what Cassie told them about QT and Miles. And that's when everyone sees the video of Cassie. Um, and she says there are more snakes in the grass than people think. And specifically, um, people who she thought she wasn't in alliance with. Then goes to a public chat after her message where Kyle says he didn't know who Cassie was talking about, but he felt she was more of a person to be cut than the others. QT basically out herself saying that Cassie may have been betrayed by her. Everyone is starting to not trust QT then, or starting to get suspicious about her at the very least. Olivia, Brandon, um, Olivia Brandon is vague about saying Cassie put her trust in wrong people, not really saying who it was. In a private chat, there's three private chats that go on after this. One is with Olivia Brandon and Lauren, and then the others, another is Jordan and Kyle, and the last is Paul Cress and Miles. So in Olivia and Brandon's private chat with Lauren, um, they both think Miles is flip flopping and a snake. They solidify their alliance, but Olivia Brandon is skeptical because she feels like she puts her trust in people, and almost always they don't follow through. So I can, sort of sympathize with that and empathize with her about that, or him about that, because I feel or felt the same way growing up, and so I feel like I have trust issues too, to some extent. Um, so in Jordan and Kyle's chat, Jordan thinks that if he acts naive and sucker, and it will sucker Kyle into telling him anything and everything, because he doesn't really like Miles, and so he tries to, and he thinks that Cassie was talking about Miles, and she was, partly. It wasn't just on him. But anyway, so he tries to get Kyle to see what Cassie meant in her video, but Kyle is suspicious off rip, so he's like, yeah, I don't know about this. um, Kyle doesn't really spill any tea. um, Jordan puts it out there to Kyle, maybe it was Miles, and Kyle is still vague again and says that they should just play detective. um, where, and it leaves Jordan like, well, damn, like, what what should I do now, essentially? uh, Paul Caress starts to chat with Miles. They talk, and it seems like the women um, come after him a lot. So Paul just wanted to check up on Miles. Miles was to bring Paul into the alliance with him, KT, and Kyle, and um, Paul agrees. So it goes into one of the first games in these two episodes, where it's called It's Personal. Each player has to pick between two things to see who's on the same page, and the circle will still show the percentage of how many picked each one. Question one is, will you fight a bear or will you fight 500 chickens? People, 50% of everyone said the bear, and 50% said 500 chickens. Um, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I'd rather the bear, just because at the very least If I get killed, it's not a slow death where like I'm bleeding out because of 100 or 500, scratches from the chickens. Um, Whereas with a bear, it's like one swipe and you're dead. So, question two is a cozy night in or a wild night out. Again, 50% sit in, a cozy night in, while the other 50% said the wild night out. And I would pick the cozy night in personally. So, question three is, would you rather phone photos getting leaked or Google searches getting leaked? Again, 50% said photos, while the other 50% said Google searches. Um, and honestly, it's a toss up between this one, actually, if I'm being quite honest. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. Question four is no sex for a year or no social media for a year. 25% said no sex, and 75% said no social media. Um, well, if we're being honest, like they said no sex. They didn't say nothing else where you can't do something for yourself. That is what I don't consider. I don't consider doing something for yourself sex. So I can live without that personally. That's how I justify it. Is like if I can do whatever for myself, I don't care. I can just do that, and but no social media is just a no for me. Um, so question five is find your parents' sex tape or your parents find your sex tape. 62% said find your parents' sex tape, and then 37% said parents find their sex tape. Um, Honestly, I'd rather not find my parents' sex tape if I'm being quite honest. I'd rather not. So let them find mine. I don't care. I mean, after the game, an alert tells them that the game wasn't just a game, it was a compatibility test for all the players in the circle, where each player will be based up or paired up based on their answers. The partnership must be kept secret from everyone else, and the player they're matched with is the ride or die. Jordan is paired with QT, Kyle is paired with Caress slash Paul, Lauren is paired with Autumn, and Olivia slash Brandon is paired with Miles. So each pair has their own individual private conversation, starting with Paul and Kyle, where they wonder if this or Paul wonders if this compatibility is for another game, and Paul doesn't really like Lauren because she threw him under the bus publicly, and Kyle shares his concerns. Next is Lauren and Autumn, where Autumn shares that Paul threw everyone under the bus, including Lauren, saying she's a backstabber, which makes Lauren feel uneasy because it looks like to her Paul talks shit very easily. Jordan and QT talk privately, where QT tells him that Lauren may be nice to everyone, but someone told her, whether I don't remember if it was her mom or her grandma, but someone told her someone who is friends to everyone is friends to no one. And lastly, it's Olivia, Brandon, and Paul. And these two could not hate that they're paired more than anyone else. They agreed to rate each other high and have one person rate low, which they agree is Autumn, begrudgingly. So, the circle then, gives them a party where the pairs are wearing matching costumes like eggs and bacon, cookies and milk, peas and carrots, and ketchup and mustard. After that little, dance party, they get told that secret partnership means more than they think. Meaning that their fates are tied together. So if one player in the ride or die relationship is blocked, the other person in the ride or die relationship is blocked as well. And I was thinking, well, this is pretty freaking amazing because it's basically a 2-for-1, essentially. So basically, if there's someone who you don't like, and you have to do not like, and they're paired with someone who you either don't like either or you don't really know all that well, they get out as well. And this is probably like the best twist I've seen this entire time. Because season one, I don't think really had that many twists. If it's been a while since I last saw it because I only saw it once, but I really enjoyed that season just because they had the most, they had the, everyone who, they had mostly people who were playing an authentic game, like honest and authentic game when go to the end, and I like that. But they didn't. I mean, it was so new. It was like brand. Well, this one was was like kind of based off of the UK version. So I watched the UK version, and I really liked the first season of the UK Circle, and second season was Afion, and I started season three of the UK Circle, and I didn't even finish it because I think I got like into two to four episodes of season three of the UK version, um, before I just stopped watching it, and I was like, never again. Because I think that was when they brought in the whole um, duplicating, making a duplicate profile of someone that's already playing, with people, and the behind the duplicate profile is someone who was already blocked, and um, I didn't necessarily like that whole twist, so that's why I didn't really finish it. I don't think. And then they kind of brought that into the U.S. version, and it was like, yeah, no. Anyway, so back to this one. I like that twist. The whole, if if one person in your ride or die is at the bottom, they are blocked, and or if the person in your duo is blocked, then you are blocked as well. I like that. That's a really interesting twist. So going into episode 8, called "Who Ordered the Sacrificial Lamb," everyone is spinning out about the news after the party, and they have to go to bed anxious. The next morning, Kyle is worried that Paul will fuck it up because he has a bad relationship with all the girls and needs to fix it. And that is, if that's not foreshadowing at its finest, I don't know what it is. Um, Jordan doesn't think Olivia and Miles are each other's ride or die. Little does he know. And so he starts a private chat with her, tries to plot to get Miles out again, and it doesn't work. Miles and QT talk privately. He cooked her breakfast and had it sent to her. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't. I mean, on the one hand, that's sweet, but he's only really doing it to kind of butter her up, in my opinion, to kind of bring her along, to make sure that she brings him along. So, I mean, and I get that's the whole point of it, but I'm like, I don't like that. That feels very icky to me. I'm sorry. Uh, so she reveals she reveals that she's a dancer. Her mom and her sister mean the world to her, and her mom battled breast cancer, and it was a bit difficult to see her mom's light dimmed due to that battle with cancer. Miles also opens up saying that he was raised by his aunt and now deceased uncle, and he considers his cousins more like siblings than actual cousins. Autumn starts a chat with Kyle, and Autumn wonders who she can trust other than Lauren and Jordan, and he suggests Paul and Miles. The next and last game for this batch of episodes is called Circle Scenarios, where each player will receive an individual scenario and answer the question in front of everyone. First question goes to Autumn, where she is asked which players are most and least likely to fall in love at first sight. She says Olivia will most likely, and least likely will be Paul. Question two, Kyle is asked which players are most and least likely to go someone. He says most likely is Jordan and least likely is Paul. Jordan is asked question three, which players are most and least likely to win the circle. He says most likely is Kyle and least likely is Olivia. Question four is Paul's question, where he is asked which players are most and least likely to ditch their friends for a date. He says most likely is Olivia and least likely is QT. Question five is where all hell breaks loose, because Lauren is asked this question and her answer is like, well, what the fuck were you thinking? You're a dumbass. Because she is asked which players are most likely and least likely to buy likes. She, for some, for something other than, I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm saying. But the only reason I can think of is that she is dumb as hell, because she answers Autumn is most likely to buy likes and QT is least likely to do that. Why would you do that when you know that your ride or die could be is could be your ride or die could be put at the bottom now because of what everyone else does because of this. In question six, Olivia's asked which players are most likely and least likely to stab someone in the back. She says most likely is Lauren and least likely, or most likely is Autumn and least likely is Lauren. Question seven, it goes to QT, where QT is asked which players are most least likely to kiss ass. She says most likely is Autumn, least likely is Jordan. Question eight goes to Miles, where he is asked which players are most and least likely to catfish someone. He says most likely is Autumn and least likely is Olivia, which causes Autumn to feel like this is such a pile-on and like it's bullying. Because when Olivia talks privately with her, Olivia tries to apologize and Autumn doesn't want to accept it right away because she feels like, well, you're saying that you were bullied pretty bad when you were a kid, but here you are adding to me being bullied. Especially knowing that I just told you that I was bullied, and you're trying to kind of excuse it. Like, if you knew that you were bullied when you were a kid, why would you then try to bully yourself? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And I kind of get what she's trying to say, or I kind of get her viewpoint, but I kind of don't, because like at this point, like this is really just, I don't know. Because on the one hand, I understand what she's saying, because it's like it feels like bullying to her, and I don't want to dismiss her feelings of it feeling like bullying to her, but but I understand Olivia's or such Brandon's point of view as well, because it's like we're trying to win $100,000 here, or how I don't even remember how much money it is. I think it's like however much money. It's a lot of money, and if I have to name someone, and I mean, I think at this point they really didn't have much of a conversation with each other, so she had to pick the person who she didn't really have any sort of connection to. So it was either her or Jordan. And if she could have picked Miles, she would have, honestly, because she doesn't like Miles. So if she could have thrown Miles under the bus, she would have. But she couldn't, so it was either Autumn or Jordan, and unfortunately she picked Jordan or Autumn. So because I mean, let's not forget that she picked, you know, Olivia to be most likely to fall in love at first sight. I mean, and Olivia also was picked as most likely to ditch their friends for a date. That's pretty, you know, being thrown on the bus as well. I mean, it's not, of course, obviously she wasn't picked time after time after time, like 4 times in a row, that she is most likely to do something. But I mean, so I get both sides. So I mean, I, it sucked. I mean, and this is where I blame Lauren, because it's like, mostly because it's like she was the one who literally started this whole train rolling, where she picked Autumn, her ride or die, to be most likely to do something. And I think that's what started the whole ball rolling, personally. And as far as I know, as far as we don't see Lauren to go talk with Autumn privately, because, or at least we don't see it. I mean, it could be they talked and the producers left it on the cutting room floor, but as far as I know, she didn't go. Lauren didn't go apologize to Autumn for throwing her ride or die under the bus and potentially causing her ride or die to be put at the bottom. So instead, Lauren speaks with Paul and wonders if she's an ass for starting the Autumn hate train. And I'm like, well, Paul pacifies her, saying, well, uh, I guess saying you didn't really know that this would start the whole train and all that stuff, but he still plans on backstabbing her, which is fine. That's your right to do. The players then have to rate each other, and the bottom rated player will be blocked from the circle immediately without any influencers input. The ratings then come in, and the seventh player, along with the ride or die, will be notified. So the people who the seventh player, um, is who I think is Paul, because I think Kyle was the one that was rated. I don't know where he was rated, obviously, but I mean, I don't think he was rated seventh personally. But because he's tied with Kyle or Paul, um, you know, he's facing being blocked. Um, Paul has to, but the circle says, well, that they faced being blocked, and that should have been their first clue that something was up, because then it says they have one of them has the chance to save their ride or die by making a sacrifice and blocking themselves from the circle, um, but while the other one can, remain, say, I want to stay. So one person said, so basically what has to happen is one person has to choose stay, while the other has to choose sacrifice. But if they both choose to stay, they will be blocked. And obviously, if they both choose sacrifice, they're obviously going to both go. Um, but yeah, and so it ends on that cliffhanger. And honestly, I will be probably waiting to on pins and needles on May 1st, um, wondering what will happen. Um, because that was a good ending. That was a good ending. They kind of didn't have me in the first like 4 episodes because of that AI bullshit, but you know, I am really looking forward to seeing what happens in the next um, batch of episodes. Um, so here's the hope, and it's really really good because um I just it was not expecting that at all. Um, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and I will see you guys. I'll try to make sure that I'm um on it next week. Um, and I get episodes. Hold on, let me see how many episodes are gonna be. I think the episode, yeah, so it's episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12 are going to be next Wednesday. Okay, so I'm going to try to make sure that episodes 9 and 10 are up um, no later than Friday night, and then obviously episodes 11 and 12 are going to be Sunday. Um, so, um, so I'll try to at least watch one episodes, like episode 9, so like Wednesday or Thursday, and episode 10 either Thursday or Friday, and then that way I can make the video for you guys. But again, let me know what you guys think. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.